catheter, staying superiorly, slip the catheter almost as if you're going straight down to the table, and that kind of that gives you better success of actually getting into the bladder as opposed to going right into the vaginal opening. So that's my key, is knees all the way up to the chest, down to the table. Not like kind of fishing around to go superiorly. You're going to look for that superior hole, but you're going to go down to the table. There's a few videos out there you can look. I just wasn't able to upload them to this. But with the boys, I tend to hold the penis kind of like 90 degrees and like extend it a little bit, especially if they're not circumcised. That can get a little tricky. So kind of move everything out of the way, hold it pretty sturdy, and kind of just feed it in there. Okay, the straighter you hold it and almost like extend it a little bit, the less likely you are to have like tunneling. Because a lot of times these catheters are tiny, they're soft, they're flexible, they can actually tunnel in the foreskin, and then you get like a false track. And if you're putting the catheter in and you're not like feeling anything, seeing anything, just check around the foreskin, because you may actually see the catheter fold in on itself. So that's a case of like tunneling. So you ideally don't want that. Okay, everyone good with that?
Just to,
oh, sure.
If you were to pull back the foreskin, like if they're not circumcised, or don't forcibly pull it back. If you can get it back to just see the needle opening, that's helpful. If you can't, you know, if you, for the most part, it's in the needle, and you can kind of imagine by feeling. But it happened where people will pull it back and then hit it back.
Oh yeah, don't hit it back. Always bring it back.
Also, the elderly who are incapacitated. Also, I've seen this, like for elderly with strokes or elderly with altered mental status or with bad Alzheimer's. If you put a catheter in them, if you don't pull it back, I've seen them get paraphimosis. And I've seen some bad cases of paraphimosis with them. So always, someone who can't put it back themselves, always make sure you put it back for them so you don't get paraphimosis.
Absolutely.
Just another throw. You can also throw an ultrasound on some of these kids to see if they have a full bladder before you start.
Yeah, that's a good thing, and actually, thank you, I didn't mention that. Yeah, ask the parents too, did you just change a diaper? And they'll be like, oh yeah, I just changed a huge diaper. So at least that gives you a little bit of time. And again, yeah, you can do a quick ultrasound, it's not invasive, at least you know what you're going for. Don't rush it, because you would rather have a good, successful cap than a dry cap. It just adds to the trauma for everyone. Okay?
Yeah, it's interesting that they did a study in Methodist that looked at the sort of percentage of dry caps and using ultrasound, and it's like almost a third of them, which when you really think about it is what happens, but it's just so easy to do. It's just amazing.
Yeah. This was kind of just one last thing to throw in that, you know, hey, maybe you want to avoid the catheter altogether. The parents are completely against it. So you're like, okay, I have another trick up my sleeve. This was a new article that just came out this year in Pediatrics, where they actually had a new strategy for getting like a clean catch urine on kids less than 6 months that had died. They looked at about 126 infants, about a little more than half of them were boys. Ideally, they were around 55 days median. But in 62 infants, so about 50 of them, this procedure was pretty effective. And what it included was like a bladder stim kind of technique. So you clean the area just like you would for a cat. Okay, you have the parent hold the baby with the legs dangling, and kind of like, you know, you're having them almost sit in the parent's hands. And it takes a lot of practitioners, honestly, to do this. You need a few extra sets of hands. But what you do is actually you tap the suprapubic area, and their frequency was 100 taps per minute for 30 seconds. So if you ever see me like just tapping on a baby's belly, you'll know what I'm doing. So you tap about 100 times for 30 seconds, and then you go and you do a little lumbar paravertebral massage for 30 seconds. And actually, the combination of these two techniques they were repeated for a maximum of 300 seconds. Don't do it more than that. But they did it, I guess you could, it wouldn't hurt, right? It's just like a foot massage. But they did it for a max of 300 seconds. And what they were looking at was, A, could they produce urine? And B, like, was this creating contamination? Is this not a good way to go? And actually, the results were pretty interesting. The contamination proportion was only about 16% in the clean catch compared to 6% in the invasive group. So it's really not that bad. I guess a lot of it depends on how good you clean, right? So you really got to get in there, clean it well, and you may have decent luck with getting some urine. They found you know, for the most part, if a kid has a negative UA, you really have a very low suspicion of a UTI. So if we could nicely, easily get a non-catheterized specimen with a fairly low contamination rate, then we should be good to send the UA and urine culture using this method. Again, I think this goes back to like the kid I had the other night. Just in the process of me cleaning him, he had just peed too, so I was really thinking this was going to take forever. So I had just cleaned him, and then he started peeing, and I mean, I really didn't do much, but I was kind of like in the vicinity of his suprapubic, but I didn't massage his back. But it ended up working, and his UA was beautifully clean, and you know, it saved us from an invasive procedure, which I think actually would have been very difficult, because this was this kid with a hypospadias repair. You have a question, Mike?
Yeah, so I think you answered it, but I was just wondering, so for like our 30-day or less infant who's septic and needs urine, do you have to catheterize, or is it okay to just let them pee and like
So there were a few little cutoffs here. If you felt like the child was very sick, this is not the kid you're going to be like holding in midair and like rubbing and all that. You're going to just go ahead and do the cath. But if this is a kid that's like well appearing, the parents are on board, you know, you're not like rushing to bolus this child at the same time, you can definitely try it. You know, I think it's a discussion. I don't think this is going to be like the go-to, because I think a lot of people will still want to rely on a catheter specimen. But I think if you have an honest discussion with the parents, and you could try this, you know, and see if it works. And if it doesn't, just be ready to have the alternative be the cath. So. And also you have to have the parents or someone help like hold the baby. That was one of the things that they said. The parent couldn't hold the baby properly. So get someone who knows how to hold the baby, and then you have better luck. All right, cool. So let's talk about some take-home points. Really explain these procedures well. Use child-friendly language. We don't want to increase the anxiety that's going on already. And use some magic, right? Kind of get creative with your words. Let the parents and the child know what to expect. That's going to make everything go a lot more smoothly. Making sure that your child has pain control already on board and not waiting until they tell you something hurts. Making sure your procedures are really well prepared, and that goes from prepping your urine supplies and making sure you stay sterile to not throwing up the lidocaine and swinging the needle around, okay? Don't ever let them see the needle, that's the key. And again, the more calm and relaxed and confident you are going into the procedure, the more relaxed everyone else will be, okay? And again, kids are unpredictable, so you really have to roll with the punches. Always have backups, and don't be afraid to kind of get creative. Questions, guys?
Just one pearl.
Sure.
I like the way you talked about the use of topical agents. One of the very good topical agents to use, not in little kids like this, but you mentioned ethyl chloride, and another one is acetylene. I've used them to kill maggots. We used to use in the old days, we used to use ether.
Didn't know
She
where I was
really
going.
getting ether anymore. And it gets too much. But if you spray ethyl chloride on the maggots, or acetylene on the maggots, they will be paralyzed and fall off. Or freeze to death. It works.
Awesome. I would never have thought that.
This is great. Really important stuff. I just want to echo some stuff. If you're using lead, you don't always have to use injected lidocaine. I've had really good success with suturing people without injecting lidocaine. So you kind of take away that needle and burning. Kids who are old enough to talk to them. Distract them from what you're doing. One of my favorites is superheroes for little boys or even little girls. So you talk about their cartoons, just keep interacting with them. Definitely lie to them, like Caitlin said.
Hey, it's a magic.
No, I mean like, not showing them the suture needle, things like that. You're gonna lie to your kids plenty. I take the forceps and I show them it's blunt, I touch their arm with it, things like that. Manage expectations for when you try to remove foreign bodies, or when you do, let the parents know that they may have bleeding from the ear. I've had a couple of bounce backs from parents coming back and saying the ear is bleeding. It might bleed, obviously. And that's all I got.
One quick addition, just so with catheterizations, that sometimes there is going to be a failure rate just because you have a patient who has like a severe phimosis or stenosis or neuritis. You can always fall back to supernumerary catheterization, aspiration, sorry, with the ultrasound. It's very easy, simple, it's safe with the ultrasound. Yeah, just keep that in mind.
And one last thing, just to encourage you to put the lead or the LMX or the EMLA on the abscesses. There's stuff out there that, as far as studies to say that it actually is, especially if they're relatively light, you may forego the whole procedure because it just sort of makes it off.
I've come back in and they're like already open on their own, and you just have to squeeze them. So, yes, totally agree. Cool guys, anything else?
Quick question.
Yes.
EMLA and LMX, so the left is about 30-45 minutes of work. EMLA and LMX, what's the onset for that?
I tend to leave them on the same amount of time. I don't maybe I don't count.
So the only reason I know this is because I went for T&T to get LMX, so it's the LMX is slightly shorter. It's something more like 30 minutes, whereas the EMLA is something closer to 1 hour in theory, or that's what's on the labeling. Just on the labeling, the reason we have both forms, again, I would never know this except for we have to do this for Casey. We have both on formulary because LMX, oh no, it's the one with the Prolacine, I guess the LMX is not paid for newborns for circumcision because of anemia. Yes. So, yeah, in theory, well, that's like for the most part, we have an LMAC meeting. Or, not that I can say, but there's a reason that we kept both on formulary. LMAX is pretty much all you really need, but there are these little, like when you read the package inserts, this is which one.
Put it on your own hands, so if you said Tegaderm over it, and then when it goes down on your hands, not on that too.
Ah, so what?